If you've got dingy, yellowed headlights on your modern car with plastic headlight housings, I'm going to show you how to go from dingy to less cringy in about an hour and for no more than about $30. So my wife's 2012 Honda CR-V has had yellowed and hazed headlights for a little while now, probably going on about a year or two that they've been in this condition. I knew I wanted to do something about it, but I didn't want to replace the headlights, and I knew that I could do a headlight restoration. That's exactly what I've done on this headlight already. That's taken me about an hour. The amount of time that you put into the headlight is going to determine how well the headlight looks. Now in this case, I just want them to be better. I don't want to replace them, but I also don't want to spend too much time working on the headlight because I'm afraid I may burn into the headlight. The kit that I'm using is a Mother's New Lens Headlight Restoration Kit. This is not a paid sponsorship. I'm just using this kit because when I was looking for headlight restoration kits, I was trying to find something that told me on the side of it exactly what it did and what it came with. There were a couple of options that I saw, Rain-X, there were a couple of those plastics wipe-on kits. No, never use a wipe-on kit. They don't last. The proper way to do this is a headlight restoration kit, and what I've found, I've used Mother's products before, and this product is meeting my expectations. The kit comes with just about everything that you need. It comes with this quick change adapter base, an 800 grit pad, a 1500 grit pad, a 3000 grit pad, and this Mother's polish ball. Now, you will need to source your own electric drill. I am using Ryobi, again, not sponsored, it's just what I had, and your own spray bottle. In the spray bottle, it's nothing special. It is literally just water. Once you have the kit open, you've inspected it, and you've read the instructions, you're going to take your 800 grit pad, put it onto your quick change adapter, and install it into your drill. The very first step that you're going to do is spray down the headlight very liberally with tons of water. The more water, the better. All this is going to do is provide a lubrication source to your headlight so you don't burn through the plastic. The other thing that I like to do is to actually wet the pad itself. Now, once you've got your headlight wet down with the water, you're going to use your drill, preferably on the low speed application, if you have one, and go lightly side to side across the entire headlight. I like to start in the corners and the upper areas to make sure that I don't forget and I don't miss those areas. I also like to go in an up and down pattern to make sure that I am not putting any kind of patterns into the headlight. Now you're just going to do this lightly and slightly increase your effort and speed over time. What I've got right now is the first step with the 800 pad installed on the drill. Now, I personally do like to use the pads for as much as I can. So after I've already done the driver's side headlight, I am reusing my 800 pad to get as much as I can out of it. It does provide you with more pads, one per headlight. But my first step is I have gone around all of the corners, and you can already see the amount of stuff that is coming off of the outside of this headlight. This is what you're looking for. You want to have this white haze on the headlight to let you know that you are actually biting into it and removing the surface contaminations. You do want to be careful that you keep your headlight wet and liberally lubricated and make sure that you're not burning through in any areas. I have stopped after doing the corners right now, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray everything off with my spray bottle, get all of this residue off, and start moving onto the base, bigger portion of the headlight. I like to at first do kind of the entire headlight, working in small areas. I'll do it in about thirds. I'll do this third of the headlight, the center section, and then the end section. But I do make sure to overlap everything that I'm doing. I'll do one light dusting over the entire headlight, I'll spray it off, and I'll do another light dusting from top to bottom. After you've got a really good haze, an even haze on the headlight from using the 800 pad, you're going to switch to the 1500 pad and repeat the steps until you get a haze that you are comfortable with. Now at this point is when you decide how much time and effort am I going to put into this headlight. For me, I'm just trying to make them look better. If I wanted them done professionally, I would take them to a professional person and have them done. However, I don't want to spend say $170 or more doing this, I know that I can do this for about $30. Now that I have the first light dusting done on the headlight with the old reused pad, I'm going to go ahead and clean everything off and check my areas and see where I still need to do some more work. I do have some areas on the top of the headlight that do need to be touched up more because it doesn't look like they really got too much of a haze on them. But you can see that a lot of the yellowing in the headlight is now dissipating and it's going to a more fogged haze. You can see in these areas where they are not very hazy may mean that I do have some more work to do in these areas. But I'm going to go ahead and switch to a new pad and continue. Now that I've got my new pad installed, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to liberally lubricate the entire headlight and keep going. Remember that this is not a one-step process per each pad. You are going to have to go over this multiple times. I like to make sure that I'm cleaning off the headlight frequently so I can see any spots that aren't getting as much attention as they need to. Such as right here, I do have a spot that isn't getting as hazy as the rest, along with this whole front section of the headlight. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this headlight in the 800 pad until I get a good even haze across it before I move on to my next level pad, which is the 1500 grit. Now I've gotten a good, relatively even haze over the headlight with my 800 pad. I'm going to dry this off, inspect it, and move over to my 1500 grit sanding disc. Okay, I have a couple of passes through with the 1500 grit on the drill. I actually did something different from the other side that I'm doing on this side. I switched my drill to low speed for the first couple steps, and I'm getting a really good, even, and clear haze throughout the entire headlight. I'm going to go ahead and wet this down again, ramp up to the second speed, and this is where I particularly spend a good amount of time making sure that the process is done right. I spend a lot of time in the 1500 section because it's getting you much better results. If you spend, at least in my experience, too much time on the 800 grit sandpaper, you have more chance of burning into the headlight and imparting a pattern that you won't be able to get out without some real professional reconditioning. So I finished with my 1500 grit sandpaper stage, and the reason why I know that, or at least what I go off of, is I'm not getting any more sling back. What I mean by that is I'm not actually getting any more white particulate coming off of this headlight. So I know that I have gone through most of the surface contamination, and now I'm down to the plastic level of everything underneath. At this point, we only have 2 steps left. That is the final cutting stage with the 3000 grit, and then we're going to step up to the Powerball with the mother's plastic headlight polish. Now that we're onto the 3000 grit level of the headlight restoration, we're going to go ahead and chuck that onto our adapter pad, and we're going to make sure to dry off this entire headlight. Reason B, the 3000 grit stage is actually a dry stage. You don't use any water. You do have to use light pressure, and I will go through this stage on the high stage of the drill so that I can make sure that I'm just putting light, even pressure across everything, and I am just clearing up some more of this haze. Again, you can see there's a lot of that yellowing gone out of this headlight, and everything is a clear haze. We're trying to clean this up with the fine 3000 grit sandpaper disc level. When I'm in the 3000 grit sanding stage, I like to go back and forth on my headlight as well as up and down. The other thing that I personally like to do, because I have the option, I do have a reversible drill. So I will flip that to reverse and I will repeat that pattern with the 3000 grit. What that helps me to make sure of is I don't get any swirl marks in one direction or the other. I feel like during the 3000 grit sanding stage, having that drill go the opposite direction really makes a lot of difference. Now that the sanding is complete, I like to take a wet rag just to make sure I'm getting any dirt or debris off of the headlight. And it also starts to give you an indication of what your headlight's gonna look like once it gets polished up. Now, this may not be the best restoration that I've ever done, but again, I am only trying to make this look better than it did. If I wanted professional, I'd pay for it, but this is something that I can do, and so far, I am very, very happy with the results. Once you've got your Powerball attachment attached to your drill bit, put about a nickel-sized amount of the polishing compound onto the ball. You're going to make sure to kind of just dab this into some areas. It will be heavy on your first application, and then I like to try and drag that across the entire area that I'm going to be working on first. I do also like to add a little more compound once I get that spread out, just so that I know that the Powerball is not going to be dried out. I do start with my low speed application and spend some good time and make sure to try and eliminate, you're never going to, but try and eliminate as much sling as possible. Here I've gone through my first initial stage of polishing the headlight, and so far so good. This was my low speed stage. I do still have a bit more work to do on high speed, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep up with that and hopefully be done with this in a couple more minutes. And there you have it. Now we've gone from dingy to a little less cringy in about 2 hours and for less than $30. And the most important thing is, my wife's here to tell you how she thinks it looks. How's it look?
It looks a million times better than it was.
A million times better?
Hopefully I can see in the dark when I'm driving now.
All right, so we don't have to replace these. This is good enough?
For now, yeah.
That's good. Solid. For now, see you on the next one.